Yo, let's take it back to the beginning. The evolution of trucking with Loshawnparks. All the way up to where I'm at right now. Hope that you guys enjoyed 2019. Throwing back Thursdays, showing you guys from the starting point to where I'm at right now. Hope y'all enjoy. Let's go.
Nothing feels better than this. Nothing feels better. Nothing feels better than this.
Saturday or Sunday. The last 2 weeks has been on Sunday just because I've been spending time with family on Saturday. And then last night I didn't get back in from my load until late, so excuse me, like I said once again, I haven't had time to do a video on Saturday because I was working. But nevertheless, here's the video for this weekend. And basically what I'm going to talk about is the pros and cons of being a TNT trainer and a PSD instructor. I am a certified PSD instructor and a TNT trainer with Prime Inc. So I can train people to get their license and also take them out on the road to complete their training. Couple of things that I've noticed from me doing it, been doing it for 2.5 years, 3 years. I haven't done a PSD training or student since my wife. My wife was the last one that I did PSD train. I did another student previous to that. It's a pretty cool little ordeal thing to do. Me personally, if you don't have patience, don't get into it. Don't get into it if you don't have the patience. Don't get into TNT training if you don't have the patience as well. Patience is the very, very, very most important thing with doing this training and being a trainer or an instructor, because you're going to get people from all walks of life pretty much who coming into trucking who don't know how to shift. They never drove a standard before. They don't know how to clutch. So yeah, it's pretty much like you're teaching somebody how to walk, you know, that don't know how to walk. You know, you tell them to move the left foot forward, the right foot follows behind it, you know. As easy as it sounds, it's really not easy. So it takes a lot of patience, man. People pretty much get the concept of driving, but you know, when you start getting into, you never shifted before, and then you got to shift and clutch at the same time, watch your RPMs, it can get really, really stressful. And not to mention that the person that's learning, they're already stressed, you know. So it's a lot of weight on them, and then it's a lot of weight on you because you're sitting in the passenger side of the seat and teaching this person at the same time they control pretty much your life. Because if they get in an accident, then, you know, it's on you and it's your life. So the PSD portion side of it is very strenuous, man. You really need to be have a lot of patience and be on your game and know what you're doing yourself, because you can't train somebody to do the trucking business or do trucking shifting if you're not A1 yourself. You see a lot of guys out here on these pads out here, on these PSD pads out there in Springfield, trying to train or instruct these students on how to do these maneuvers to pass the test, and they can't even do the maneuver them damn selves. Okay, just how can you train somebody to do something that you can't, you know, do it great yourself? So the second rule is make sure that you have yourself on point before you decide that you know want to get into that field of PSD training or being an instructor, that you know how to do maneuvers, alley dock, straight back, offset, blind side offset, because that stuff is what it's going to take to get the student to pass the test. And you got to know what you're doing with that, man. If you don't, you got the blind leading the blind. And you know, it's already a lot of scrutiny on companies out here that are putting basically students with students. Pretty much what they mean by that is that, you know, you've been with the company for 3 months and here it is, you're training another person to come on that's brand new, but you're still kind of new yourself. So, don't get it. I would say don't get into it until you put at least 6 months, a year under your belt, man, and you're really comfortable with doing your maneuvers. Because if not, man, especially on the lease aspect, man, you go into there to do a test out, man, and the student doesn't pass in your leasing, your truck note don't stop. Your truck note continues to run, and every day that you don't pass, you're stuck with the student another day, the next day, the next day, the next day. And then, like I said, as you know in trucking business, if your wheels are not turning, you're not earning. And if you're sitting there at Springfield and you're going to the cafeteria and you're eating and you're going by the company store, grabbing a shirt here, a shirt there, that shit adds up, man. Excuse my French on this video, but it adds up big time. And you'll end up still having a truck note and you're not making no money. To me, personally, I think that they should give a more of an incentive to the lease drivers than they do to company drivers. They don't. They actually, company drivers that want to train and lease drivers that want to train, same pay. They got the trifecta thing. I think like I said, I trained my wife last time as a PSD. I trained her at PSD, and that was a year ago and some change. I haven't done a PSD student since then. Me personally, I probably won't do them no more. I've put too much money into my truck, and when you're dealing with new students, new people, they can have a tendency of laying on the clutch and burning the clutch out, and then when your truck goes in the shop, that all falls on you. And like I said, that's why they don't give a big enough, Prime to me doesn't give a big enough incentive for lease operators to actually do it. It's just not worth it to me. The truck breaks down, now I'm responsible for the truck note and for the repairs, and I'm not making that much off of this student to do this program for the PSD. TNT is totally different, day and night. I run TNT student all day. Pretty much what it does is by running TNT, it turns your truck into basically a team truck. So basically you go from a solo driver to a team driver, and basically you run the truck, and Prime pays that TNT student who's coming out of PSD, I think it's somewhere between 10 to 12 cents. Don't quote me, this information could be incorrect, it could have changed. But I know it's between 10 to 12 cents last time I checked with payroll. And Prime meets a guarantee for them of, I think, $600. And then as they upgrade after a couple of thousands of miles, I think 10,000 or 20,000 miles, they can upgrade to a BC or something of that nature, to where they can make, I think, up to $700 now a week with Prime until they finish off their 40,000. Which with a TNT driver, they go out 40,000 with you. With the PSD, they do 10,000 with him. He brings them back and he tests them out. Tests normally take anywhere between a couple of days and however long it takes for the student to test out. So to me, the pros weigh more to me in TNT. The cons are more on the PSD side. And even though there's a lot of PSD guys who like to do it, man, they don't do nothing but PSD. They bring a student in, test them out, train them for 3 weeks, bring them in, test them out, get another one, train them, test them out for 3 weeks. They like doing that, because also on the PSD side, as long as you got that PSD student on your truck while they're doing PSD and they're getting a license, I do believe it's $300 a week for them being on your truck. So I definitely heard from my buddy out there on the road, Andrew. Me and him talk a lot. He's on the flatbed division, but me and him was just chopping it up this weekend while we both was rolling from Laredo to Clayton with the load, and we were just talking, and he had enlightened me on some intriguing information. There's a lot of guys that are doing the PSD differently than what I had known it to be done. There's some guys that's taking the PSD students out for 3 weeks, and as long as they're on the truck, they make that $300 a week. So that's $900 that they make for having that PSD student. So basically what you do is you take them out, you train them how to drive, bring them back, and then you grab another one. You don't test them out. They actually have some guys that are sitting around there that will test that student out for you in case you don't want to sit around and wait for that student to get tested out. which is kind of good for those that may live in Springfield or that want to be by the terminal all the time, or for some reason. But also, it could have perks to it, from what I was understanding, because the guys who train them out, who test them out, who test them out, if they trifecta that student, you know, they make, think between 800 and 850. And the trifecta is basically where the person passes the test, the driving test, on the first day. They finish their pre-trip out, they do their backing maneuvers, and they pass their road test. They make 850. The trainer makes 850 for that. And the student makes 250, I think, or 200, somewhere between them two numbers. But I see how that could be very profitable if you just want to, you know, hang around Springfield or live in Springfield and then say, hey, you know, I take whoever's drivers that, you know, take them out for 3 weeks, train them out, bring them in, drop them with me, I test them. It seems like it could be pretty much a win-win situation all the way around, because the person who's training them gets $300 a week from being on a truck, and then that person who tests them out gets the $850. But the person who tests them out actually gets a little bit more of a perk or more incentive from that, because then once that student upgrades from TNT into their own truck, I think you get another $300 bonus, which that would be the person who tested them out. He gets that bonus, and then after 6 months, I think he gets another $300 or $250 or something of that nature. And then after a year, he gets another $200 or $300 bonus, and then he gets 2 cents or 3 cents of every mile that he driven for a certain amount of period of time. Don't quote me on all that. I'm not quite sure. The part that I am sure about, though, is the bonuses that they do get once the student upgrades into his own truck after 6 months in a year. I know about those by heart. The part that I'm not quite sure and could have changed is the 2 cents that they get for the student all the way for additional year. That part I could be confused on, or don't want y'all to quote me on that. But I know it's something of that nature. You do get another incentive for them per mile for a certain amount of time after a year. So that is for sure. Not quite sure accurately on the number, but last time I checked, I thought it was like 2 cents or something like that. But I can see how that could be very profitable. Make some good money from that. Like my man Andrew had said, that his buddy had made $2,500 by just testing the students out. He wasn't the one who trained them. He took the ones that the trainer took them out, didn't want to stay for the testing portion, so he gave it to them, and the guy tested them out, and he made, you know, pretty well. But like I said, me, I did it twice. I mean, it's a good experience. You know what I mean? I got that credential under my belt that I am an instructor as well. But me, I don't care too much for it as an owner, operator, or as a lease driver, for the simple fact that that clutch, that steering, the drive shaft, everything falls on me maintenance-wise with that vehicle, with that truck, if anything was happening to it. And there's just not enough money that they're willing to give for if my truck needs to sit in the shop for a week because this student messed up my clutch. I don't want to do it. And then, you know, you hear them grinding your gears, and that really gets to you after a while. So I'm like, you know, no, I'll stick with TNT. TNT side, here lately I've been getting TNT students that have gone to other schools outside of Prime to get their CDL. My first guy that I had, named Daniel, he was from a CDL school outside of Prime, and I mean, it was a breeze. I was so impressed. I was cool. I could watch him for a day. I watched him for one day. After that, I was good to go. I could go back to the sleeper and go to sleep and sleep comfortably. And Daniel drove well. But here lately, the last couple of drivers that I've gotten that come from these schools, I don't know if it's these schools are teaching poor shifting, or I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. But last few guys that I have had, they just have not been able to shift at all, to the point where one of them I just had to, you know, call Prime and it's like, man, this guy either needs to go back to school, or we need to bring him in for evaluation, or he needs to come to prime school because this guy can't even get out of gear or shift properly without him being scared. You go through a construction area, he's really scared. You know, he was a cool guy, man, very cool guy. He explained to me that, you know, he didn't feel like he was ready. And I do a lot of New York driving. For you guys that don't know, I do a Charlotte pipe to New York City dedicated. So, you know, if you can drive through New York City and through the traffic, man, you can drive anywhere. I guarantee you. Yeah, I don't know what some of these schools are doing outside of prime, man. They're just not teaching these guys to shift well. But other than that, man, it's been a great experience. I make great money running TNT students. I would suggest that anybody that's coming on to prime or that wants to get into training or make more money, double your paycheck, get into TNT, man. I would say do about 3 to 6 months out here on the road on your own. Get to learn your truck before you let somebody else drive your truck. So learn your truck, and then go to classes for about a week to get the TNT side, man. It's well worth it, man. You literally will double your paycheck. Okay, you will double your paycheck. That's what everybody's looking for, is to make the money in the trucking business. So this is a great way to make money in the trucking business, man. Get into that training, TNT, man. After about 6 months, man, you'll double your paycheck. Other than that, man, I don't really have a whole lot, man. Just the difference in training. I know a lot of people are scared of training because they're you know, they've heard these horror stories about guys rolling trucks, students rolling trucks, students going too fast. Best thing to do, man, interview. You don't have to take the student that they have for you. You know, what you want to do is you want to interview that person before you take them out on the road on your truck, man. Hell, if you want to, take them out on the pad, take them around a couple of blocks on the bobtail, see if they know how to shift. That's what I'm about to start doing. Seeing if they know how to shift before I take you. Okay, I'm not going to take you off of the way you look, off of how excited you are, how long you've been at Prime Terminal waiting to get out of there. It means nothing to me. If you can't shift, you're not getting on my truck. Okay, so I would advise anybody out there, man, take them around the block, see if they know how to shift, man. If they don't know how to shift, man, leave them there. Let somebody else worry about their problem. You go upstairs, you let your dispatcher know, man, hey, this guy needs to go and practice more on shifting before he goes out on the road with me. I don't feel comfortable with it. Because the whole point of you being TNT is they own your truck for like $30,000 if they're coming out of the PSD program, $40,000 if they're coming from another school. And the purpose of them being on your truck is for them to learn how to run the truck properly, for them to learn how to secure their load, and for you to make money and for them to make money somewhat. So what you want to do is make sure that you're not basically PSDing this person at the same time that they're supposed to be at the TNT phase. It's okay to work with them for a day or two, but work with them for a month or two, no. They're only actually on your truck for 8 weeks. So that's only 2 months, man. I don't have time to PSD you for the 8 weeks. You understand? So make sure that you evaluate your people, man, before you put them on your truck. That way, you know, the 6 P's, man. Prior planning prevents piss poor performance, man. You evaluate them, you take them out on the road. If they seem like they're a dangerous person, man, they probably are a dangerous person. They get behind a load and they couldn't even, you know, drive a bobtail that great. They're probably not going to be able to drive with 40,000 pounds on a trailer, let alone hook a curve, go around a off-ramp, on-ramp without it rolling. Don't want those type of people, man, on your truck. So make sure you evaluate them, man. But you can make money PSDing, TNTing. I just gave you guys the golden key to get in on that stuff. Something to think about. Come get some. Till next week. Ghosts.